It's Thursday, June 6th. This is an end of the day SPY recap. And today, on the daily chart, we end up with a 2 up. It's a red day. It's really just a pause day after the momentum of the last 2 days to the upside, after we went to all-time highs. Again, after a big day yesterday, it's not unexpected at all to get a pause day. Of course, you could have had continued momentum up strong, another big green bar, but the pause is also something that makes a lot of sense. So you have to kind of look at how intraday structure unfolded to see what might develop after that big move up yesterday. We could have, we had the pre-market range between the blue lines. We could have started up with the first bar, which we did, and then immediately followed strong momentum to the upside. Instead, bar number 2, big red bar to the downside. So that was kind of your sign that you're not getting the momentum out of the gates, a little bit of short-term exhaustion risk, and it kind of shifts the thinking to, okay, market probably wants to take out some certain liquidity on the downside before resuming the uptrend. So that's kind of the mindset at that point after bar number 2. We came up to the midpoint of that first bar on bar, 3 and 4, and then had a big, red reversal. To me, I actually was watching this and I kind of detect at this point after that red bar, I figured we're going to take out the low of the day. In other words, once you get that big red bar and you're thinking you're going to get consolidation instead of a momentum move up, you start looking for the liquidity areas. The first liquidity area on this red bar would have been the pre-market lows down here. Then we come up and try to rally. That sets up a little, anyone who buys down here, they might have set a stop right here. So you have this now as the liquidity area. So what did price do? It comes down, like I said, on this red bar, I kind of suspected it was going to take out the low of the day. And since this is pretty close, probably those two, and then see what happens from there. So it comes down, takes out the low of the day. It doesn't really, it just pauses, it just holds inside, it continues lower. That probably means it's taking out this. Once it gets down to the pre-market lows, it doesn't reverse immediately from there. It comes up, then you get a little bit of a, what it was on the day was kind of a 1 push, 2 push down. Then comes down, takes out the lows of the day, which is the next liquidity area. That's where you kind of get the pause, the inside bar, and the green. So I'm not saying to buy it here on this, kind of this 2-1-2 signal to the upside for an hour, but certainly not surprising at all that after taking out liquidity and seeing this type of price action, it decides to rally into the close a little bit and give us a little bit of a momentum looking bar. This is more of like a pause momentum bar that it wants to continue higher. We have 1 day to go in this week. If this stays green and closes, green into next week, at the end of this week, then it, you expect follow through into next week a little bit higher with the all-time highs. So, the momentum is still, or the trend is still to the upside overall. And again, this still has the feel to me on the weekly chart of like 4 or 5 weeks up, pausing, and then we can certainly get some more weeks up before the next red bar hits. So in order to fail now, we have to get kind of a 2 down week. And once, we get that, if that would develop next week, it would kind of turn the monthly chart below the purple line red. And we might, in the end, maybe, you never know for sure. I still see this almost as 5 months up, pause, red bar, and another, it could go up for a few more months. But if we're going to get some kind of now that we've made higher highs here, if it wants to come back through the open and start lower, we could see if maybe we get a higher highs and all the way down to lower lows if we can get through the midpoint of the bar. Again, not expecting that at all. This type of price action to me says, higher, and we'll look for more of a reversal signal on the monthly chart, but anything's possible. And if we get below the open of the month, who knows, you go day by day at that point. But now we know we have to get a weekly reversal, and with 1 day to go in the week, that's looking more and more like it wants to probably follow through a little bit higher if we can close green. So we'll see what happens. And this is kind of a momentum bar. So, we'll see tomorrow maybe if we hold the midpoint of this bar and start up and get a really strong green close or not, or does this just continue to consolidate. But for today, like I said, the only play in terms of the actual SPY to me would have been if you wanted to buy puts here and just say, all right, we're going to get a pullback. Let's just see, even somewhere into yesterday's range. You could have messed around with that or just left it alone. You ended up getting 1 push down, pause, even a second push down. But, the key would be once you determine you're not getting, strong momentum to the upside, look for liquidity areas, to see where you might get a reversal. Not so much to trade with it, but just to kind of know that's what price action is likely trying to do. So again, the liquidity was the low of the day, didn't really rebound from there. The pre-market lows didn't really rebound from there. Finally, a second push down to the next low of the day. That's where you got the rebound. So that's kind of, it was logical price action, not necessarily necessarily easily tradable. You might not have wanted to sell against the trend here, even though you could have had a nice, minor base hit gain. And the upward moves, again, the only one to even try would have been this one, and I guess you could have had a little bit of a gain. But even though if you do so, if it was an uptrend overall and your bias to the upside, you could have just done nothing on this day and looked for other, situations maybe to the upside. I shot a video. I bought Amazon today. This was the one stock I liked the upward price action, and you can see you got one push up, pause, second push up. So, there were certain stocks doing that. Other stocks moved lower, like Tesla, like the market itself moved lower on the day. Or this is Nvidia, and Tesla also did that. It had a big reversal, actually. I saw that developing, came through the halfway point of the first bar, and then that kind of signaled you might take out that high. We had a nice reversal, but it wasn't necessarily an easily tradable bar. But it didn't start up right out of the gates like Amazon did. So I was looking more for stocks like this, and Amazon fit the bill for a decent trade to the upside. You can see Nvidia, for example, started down, but unlike Amazon, Tesla didn't really come up to the midway point of the first bar to signal you might have a reversal to the upside today on this one. But it might be setting up for that after a big run up, just pausing, and there'll be some trade eventually probably to continue higher on Nvidia. But anyway, back to the SPY. We're just going to kind of treat this as momentum looking, pause bar. We'll see if we go higher tomorrow, but not surprising at all. They got a bit of a pause day today after a couple of days of running up pretty strongly.